All right, we should be live any second. I think we're live now.
Okay.
So here we go. And I am going to make sure that the chat is open so we can see everything. I think it's live streaming both on Facebook and on YouTube.
Okay.
But it's not showing up in chat yet, so I'm going to double check and make sure I've got the chat set up correctly. Meanwhile, do you want to give us a rundown of what we're going to be doing today?
Yeah. So this is how we do parties.
Yay!
I'm a quiet in our living room and just an intimate invitation to join. I prefer these kinds of parties, but all that aside, I have on the agenda today we were going to do a Q&A. So I wanted to talk a little bit about Fairendale, the series, and all of that. Ben has some questions for me. And then I was going to share a recipe from one of the extras that I've created for the world of Fairendale. In the books, one of the characters, Maude, she is known for her pumpkin spice chocolate chip cookies. So I have that recipe that I was going to give away. I was just going to read it. Everybody who comes will get a digital copy of the extra Fairendale recipes. And there are, I think, 12 or 13 in that. And they're really good with vegan alternatives as well. So Q&A, then I was going to share the recipe, and then I have some poetry that was inspired by the world of Fairendale. So I was going to share a few of those, and then a reading from the very first book, because the two books that published today, I'm afraid that if I read from either of those, there might be spoilers. So if you have not read from the beginning, I just don't want to, I don't want to ruin the experience for you. So I figured I'd do a quick reading from the very first one, which is going to be weird for me too, because it was written 6 years ago, but we'll see.
All right. I think I've got us set up. So you know how last time we live streamed? Yeah, that's right. Last time we live streamed.
Livestream.
Yeah, that is exactly it. Rachel Tolson, the author, everyone. We were having no audio, and this time we're having an echo. So I think I just fixed it. Kathy Ellen Davis says excited.
Oh, hi, Kathy Ellen. I have been meaning to get in touch with her.
Mm-hmm.
I miss Kathy Ellen.
Yeah. So she says there's no echoing now, so that's good. Yeah, so got Ann O'Brien.
Hi, Ann.
Is tuning in. Yeah, so I guess, are you ready to jump in?
Yeah.
And
if
kick
I can
this thing off
questions
with a Q&A session. And if you have any questions, I wrote down like 7 or 8 questions that I thought of beforehand. But if you have any questions, those of you who are watching live, please feel free to pop those into the chat. I'm going to keep an eye on it over here so I can bring those in as well. All right. Oh, and Debbie's here also.
Debbie.
All right.
Awesome.
So
thank y'all for coming. I should say that too.
Yes. Thank you so much for being here.
I know it's hard to to see everybody, but I love that y'all are here with me.
All right. So the first question is, what was your inspiration for the world of Fairendale?
Well, so the world of Fairendale revolves around fairy tale characters, and they there's an underlying story that happens, but then there's also a story about fairy tale villains that goes throughout, several different fairy tale villains. And I've always been, my mom read fairy tales when I was really little, and I've always not associated, but felt empathetic toward the villains because they don't really get their own stories. So it was a summer that I was reading Grimm's fairy tales, which we do every summer in my family. I read it to all of my children, and we're still working through the, 1,500 page tome that I have of Grimm's fairy tales. But I was reading them one summer, and I thought, I just want to have a series where I explore the stories of the villains. And I retell them in a way, because there's so much, we think there's black and white to good and bad, but there's so much in between that explains how people become who they are. So that was the motivation behind it. Is I remember talking with my kids, and they'd be like, well, I wonder what the Sea Witch's story is. And that's one of the ones that I saved for last. So actually, I think it is the last one, right? Yeah, number 20.
Yeah.
So I went through some of my favorite Grimm's fairy tales and kind of jotted down the ones that I loved as a kid and the ones that I wondered about the most, the villain stories that I wondered about the most. And some of them are actually, a couple of the characters are from nursery rhymes as well. Like Jack from Jack and Jill is in one of these stories that I released today. So that was kind of the impetus for it. I've always loved fairy tales, and I'll probably stay in a fairy tale world for a while. Not necessarily Fairendale, but I do want to approach other things too.
Yeah.
So.
And I do have a question for you later related to that as well. I wanted to, before I forget, I wanted to mention that we are doing, you said we're doing a giveaway.
Yes.
And the system that I have right now is if you are attending this event and I see your name in the chat, you don't have to say anything. You don't have to ask a question or say anything.
Just say hi
important.
Or something.
Just say hi. So
yeah.
Just to let us know you're here. If I see your name in the chat, I will put you into this randomizer that we have, and then we'll do the drawing at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Did we already go over what we have
for the giveaways?
For the giveaway,
no,
yeah.
I didn't go over that. I have it on my phone. Do you want me to just read it?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Hang on, it's not recognizing my face. So there are 4 packages, and the package number 4, you get the digital copy of Fairendale recipes, a digital copy of the poetry inspired by Fairendale, and a digital copy of Fairendale Essentials, a guide to all things Fairendale, which is probably one of the extras I'm proudest of because it's got a lot of personality and humor, and it was just really fun to create.
I don't know, like it's going to be, you can't really see it. I'm trying to show the camera, but it's like blurry if I get too close. But these are like the digital covers that I created.
Yeah.
They're really kind of simple, but these are a really fun kind of dive into the world of Fairendale and some of the little extra
It's some
things.
of the stuff, some of it I created even before today because it was necessary. So there are a lot of rules and a lot of information about the kingdoms and just fun stuff about dragons and things like that. So it's a lot of fun. And then package 3, you get all of that plus Fairendale stickers, some Fairendale bookmarks, and a Fairendale poster, which is right here.
Yeah, I'll show off the. So we got the bookmarks. It's just one sticker they get. Or
yes.
Okay, in the third package, some bookmarks. We were sitting down trying to figure out like what's like a saying or something like that kind of sums up
what Fairendale is
about. And
love is the best magic is what I came up with.
Yeah, so that's the sticker here on my computer is this, and that's featured on the bookmarks as well.
Yep.
Here at the bottom, and then that was also on the
poster. Yeah, it was on there. So, and then just the second package 2, it's all of that plus let's see, books 1, 2, and 3, which are behind us. It's the paperback version signed of books 1, 2, and 3. And then the grand package is all of that, including the paperbacks, along with a Fairendale t-shirt, which Ben is modeling today.
Yep.
So, yeah, those are the fun things we have to give away.
Yeah. So, like I said, if you are watching and you haven't posted in the chat yet, whether you're watching on Facebook or you're watching on YouTube, wherever you're watching, just say a quick hi, let us know you're here, and we will make sure you get included in the drawing. Anne said, cool poster.
Oh, thanks, Anne.
I'm going to take that compliment because
Ben designed all of this, so he very can take credit.
Yeah, it's
for all of it.
It's a lot of fun.
I came up with the tagline though.
Right.
So I do the words.
And Debbie said loving the t-shirt.
Yeah, it's super cool. I have a hoodie too. I almost wore it today, but it was a little bit. It's what, like 100 degrees here, so.
Yeah.
Even though we're inside.
That was going to be uncomfortable. Yeah, just in this moment, thinking back through the past 6 years, and all of, like I've done the easy part of the work of helping bring the books to life, but you've actually built all of these worlds and stuff like that. But even with the small role that I've played in that, I feel a great sense of pride, and just also kind of like this bittersweet feeling that, oh, this is coming to a close. Like I'm not going to be designing any more Fairendale covers.
Yeah.
But there are people along the way, are folks who have read the books, the launch team, anybody who shared a Fairendale book with somebody else, is a part of helping us bring these books into the world.
Yeah.
So huge thank you to everyone who's been a part of it.
Very much so.
So that leads me actually to my next question. I'm skipping ahead. I'm kind of jumping around a little bit, but how does it feel getting to the end of this series? Like, what are you feeling right now as these last 2 books release?
Yeah.
And that this part
chapter
of
is over. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like you said, it's bittersweet. I mean, this has been a 6-year journey, which is a long time to spend on a series. I know that there are people who spend even longer than that on series, but you really, the more time you spend in these places, the more real they become to you. So all of these characters are friends of mine. I know them so well. I know the place they live so well. Like, I wish it was a real place that I could go visit. So I feel simultaneously sad, but also excited, because it is quite a long time to spend in a world. And so now I'm like, oh, I get to go to another world if I choose. I might, I know that's a question later probably, is do I plan on any other? I don't know if I'll leave it completely. I'll answer that question when we come to it. But it really is. I feel really proud as well, because 6 years is a long time to work away at something. And the whole series is 20 books, which is a lot of books. It's been a lot of practice. I'm not the same writer I was 6 years ago when we first came out with the first 3, or the first 6, I think, published that first year. So it's been like a growing experience. And so that too informs my feelings about it. I appreciate the world of Fairendale. I love it a lot.
You mentioned, this is book 20, or books 19 and 20 are launching. There was a question in the chat. Janice Vineyard said, are these books 19 and 20? Just wanted to make sure I have them all.
Yes, these are books 19 and 20.
And originally, so I guess without giving away, I wanted to ask it this way.
Okay.
How is what you've created for Fairendale different from what you first imagined? And I mean that question in two different ways. One, like the scope of Fairendale as like a long-term project, but then also kind of how what you intended to do with Fairendale evolved, you know, from when you first conceived it to when you actually started working on it and releasing books.
So this project blew up faster than I thought it would as far as characters and storylines. When I first envisioned this series, it was supposed to be a serialized kind of fiction, like what you would see on a Netflix season. So I was going to release them in seasons and have season 1 with these particular books that were considered episodes. And that quickly became not quite suitable for the Fairendale series. And I think it's because there were so many revolving parts. I consider it an epic fantasy series. So there are a lot of characters, there are a lot of moving parts, and I had to jump around to different storylines and make sure everything was closed up. And so originally I had conceived this series as a 30-book series. And then I got so tired because it was supposed to be quicker than what I released it. And then we had the pandemic and things just like everything slowed down. I didn't feel like writing. It felt like it was getting to be a chore. So I thought, you know, I could make it 20 books conceivably and it would still tie up everything. I would get everything I wanted into the books. So these last 2 books are actually, I think they're probably about 100 pages longer than the previous books, just because there was so much to close up and wrap up, because, you know, originally it would have been another 10 books, but I don't think I would have been able to stay in the world and have an authentic experience in the world if I had dragged it out for another 10. So
yeah. So, I mean, 30 would have been impressive, but you know, like 20 is okay, I guess.
Yeah, it's okay.
So that actually reminds me of another question I had, which is, how do you keep track of all of the characters and storylines? I mean, you know, I know because of the different covers and kind of the descriptions that you've given me for the books, like you're introducing new characters and you know, it is all taking place in Fairendale, but it's like different lands in and around Fairendale, and so like different settings and stuff like that. That just seems like a lot to keep up with.
It really is a lot, but I think over the years this thing has grown, but I call it my Fairendale Bible. And so I have sections where I have, this is all the information about the lands and the, you know, the weird things that happen in those lands. Then there's the section on dragons, then there are magical creatures, and then there are characters. And so, I mean, it's probably close to 2 million words on that document alone.
Oh,
that
wow.
has just been extra stuff that I've had to keep track of. And that's partially why I was ready to be done with the series, because every book, just the fact checking alone, because I would get an idea in my head and then I'd realize I already wrote that chapter, or this doesn't, it's not consistent with what I said in another book. So just that part alone, trying to keep track of all of it was really hard work. So it stretched me as a writer to have to keep track of all of that stuff. But I do have a document, and who knows, maybe one day I'll clean it up and release it into the world as like an extra or something. But it's really long, so I wouldn't release it all. It would just be, you know. But yeah.
You'd have to release it in volumes.
Right, like, exactly. These are the magical creatures, and these are the dragon lands, and these are the regular lands. Yeah.
All right, so that's really interesting. So another question I had is, what, and this is, you know, it is ironic because you were just talking about like you're keeping track of all that stuff, and now it was one of the reasons you're closing the loop on this. But what other projects or series might spring from the world you created in Fairendale?
I do have several spin-off ideas because so much went into the creation of this world. I'm not quite ready to leave. I think so in Fairendale is like the flagship of 7 different kingdoms. So the king of Fairendale rules all the other lands, and those kings are kind of lesser kings. So I had to develop each of those other 6 lands and the kingdom and their backstory and all of that. And so I kind of want to jump around into some of these other lands, like Castle, which is close to the Violet Sea. They have their own unique kingdom and storyline. So I'm thinking about going around in some of those other ones. Eastermore is the land of shapeshifters. I'm sorry, not shapeshifters, were creatures. So like werewolves and werefoxes and things like that. And so I want to explore some of those lands. Ashvale, everybody disappeared in the eruption of a fire mountain. But in one of the Fairendale books,
no spoilers.
Yeah, but I was just going to say, one of the Fairendale books, there is an insinuation that maybe the people didn't disappear. And so I thought about having a series about that. The Violet Sea is known to have all kinds of scary creatures, and the mermaids are not good mermaids. They're like the ones that you see, what is it, Pirates of the Caribbean, where they're kind of vicious and not quite as beautiful as like the Disney mermaids.
That's one example. I mean, there are a lot of really
So I'd love to do something on the Violet Sea. So I don't think I'm going to leave this world for a while because it took so much work to develop it. It's kind of a waste to just be like, oh, I'm done, It just won't be a continuation of the Fairendale series, but it would be its own little series of some kind.
Well, and I would like that because I really enjoy the artwork and stuff like that.
Yeah, all the maps and stuff. Mm-hmm. It was really cool. Thank you for doing that too.
Over
the last 6 years.
So I'm curious to know, of all of the characters in Fairendale, and I'm not sure if you can do this without spoilers.
Yeah.
Exactly. But who is your favorite character and why?
So I actually did, with my launch team, I shared with them my favorite character. And there is a sorceress named Cora who has a daughter named Mercy, who is also a sorceress. And I think Cora is probably my favorite because she's very strong-willed and she doesn't take anything from anybody, but she's like, I do what I want. And then I figure out like how to mend those relationships. So she's very like, if she sees something that needs to be done, she does it, Mm-hmm. And she's not afraid to apologize. She's not afraid of making mistakes in the first place. And I think she was the most fun for me to write just because she is so strong-willed and opinionated. And she's kind of a leader of the Fairendale Village people too. So
yeah,
I say Fairendale Village people in the books because I love saying village people. I just think I have these little like inside jokes that I do for myself. Yeah.
So she's not too unlike your personality.
Yeah. I kind of made her after me. There's another character, Maude, who's a lot of fun, but her favorite things to do are cook and clean, and that is definitely not me. So.
Really? No? Okay. All right. So, and just a reminder, if you do have any questions, I've got one more question for the frequently asked questions section, but just throughout this live stream, anytime I see questions or comments, I'll bring them in. So if you have any questions for Rachel that we didn't get to in this Q&A session, I think I called it, did I say an FAQ, like frequently asked questions? Q&A session.
Yeah.
Feel free to pop those into the chat. So
I do have a frequently asked question that I get when I go to school, and it's, are you rich? The answer to that is no. Authors do not make as much money as you think they do.
Yeah.
That's usually from kids. Adults don't ask those.
Yeah, they were like, because you did a visit, and there were like 3 or 4 different classes. No, it was more than that.
No, it was like 6. Yeah.
Who came through, and there were at least 3 kids that asked some variation of like, how much money do you make?
Do you live in a mansion?
Oh, yeah.
No.
All right. So, Janice said that's what she was thinking. That Cora is also.
Oh, really?
Like you,
yeah. Yeah.
All right. So my last question is, what is the main message of Fairendale, or what lesson do you hope readers take away from the series?
Well, one of the biggest things, I mean, there are several. So the series started out wanting people to kind of look at this. You don't always know what makes somebody choose bad things or make bad choices. So the underlying theme of all of the Fairendale books is we think there's good and evil, but we don't really know which is which until we hear the stories of people, because there's so much gray area to that, and that's what I wanted to communicate with the story of the villains, because in the world of Fairendale, these kids, they're actually kids who are thrown into the villain role, and they have a good reason for becoming that villain, or they're not even a villain, but the story was told in a way, the real fairy tale story was told in a way where the sea witch is a villain, but maybe she's not. Like, maybe there's more to that story and we just don't know. So that was one of the biggest things I wanted people to explore, is maybe there's more to the story of this bully who's bullying me at school, or somebody who is snapping at me because they're having a bad day. Like, one of the things that I try to get our kids to ask is, why is somebody acting this way? Could there be a reason? Not that it's your fault, but just that there could be a reason for this person making a bad choice that doesn't have anything to do with who they are. So that was probably the biggest thing. And then as it kept going, I found themes of love and forgiveness coming into the story. So without giving any spoilers away, love is the best magic is probably the overarching theme and lesson that I want people to get, is just that, because part of love is also examining those stories that we have wrong and the stories that we tell ourselves about people and the things people do. So I feel like love is the best magic is the framework, and then underneath that is, when we think there are villains, there's probably more to the story.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I want the world to get from the world of Fairendale.
Yeah, I love that, because it kind of it takes you out of that mindset of this person is bad or this person is wrong or whatever, and I think helps people start from a place of empathy,
right,
and curiosity, and there's definitely that fine line between, like, if you are a victim, like, it's not necessarily your job to try to understand,
right,
that, but just culturally and in our larger society, I think we could benefit a lot from asking more questions, having more curiosity, starting from a place of empathy, and really trying to understand
the two sides of the story, or that there's just more to the story than we originally see or think to ourselves.
So Kathy Ellen had a question. She said, how did you decide what order to tell the stories of the characters, or the order of the books?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm not even really sure. I think so. I started with a list of all the fairy tale characters I wanted to explore, and I think I just went through, and so there's the fairy tale story character. I'm sorry, the fairy tale character story, and then around all of that are these characters who live in Fairendale. And so it was an ongoing story to that. And then the fairy tale characters are kind of this added, and I think I would figure out, so the way that I did this, I would figure out which fairy tale character fit into, this is a lot. This is a lot. Okay, I'd figure out which fairy tale character would fit into that overarching story of the Fairendale characters. And then there's also backstories in each of these. So it was, like I said, it was supposed to be a series, like Netflix, some kind of Netflix series where they have flashbacks, So then I would figure out, okay, which flashback is going to be matched to the fairy tale character because they're kind of exploring the same themes. So it was like a really intense brainstorming every single book, trying to figure out like which character is struggling with what and which backstory also shares that same struggle. It was like a puzzle. Yeah.
Putting all those.
That's kind of what I did is I put the puzzle together with where the overarching story was going to go. It's a lot. Now that I think about it, I'm like, how did I keep track of all that?
Mm-hmm.
Not to like say I'm great and all that, but it was a lot to keep track of.
So Kathy Ellen also said, they always want to know what kind of car you drive, in response to the...
Yeah, I don't know if I got that question. They were really concerned with the house. And did I have a pool? And did I, it was weird. These kids are weird.
Yeah, if they had followed us out to the parking lot, I think they would have been really impressed with our
Honda Odyssey. Yeah.
Malcolm Ferris is here.
Oh, hey, Malcolm.
And he says, congrats on your twin release.
Oh, thank you.
So I just want to give another reminder. Cherie Robinson.
That's my mom.
I know.
It's like, what are you?
Says, love these last 2 books.
Yeah, she's already read them. But she's my mom, so I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
No, she also was a library director, so she knows books.
Yeah.
Maybe that works in my favor too.
So I just want to give another reminder that if you are watching and you would like to be a part of the drawing, we've got some prizes we're going to be giving away at the very end. But the way I know to enter your name is for you just to say something in the chat. You can just say hi. You don't have to ask a question or make a comment. You can just say hi or a little, waving emoji, just to let us know that you're here. And that way I can plug you in and we'll do the drawing.
And if you wondered what we did with all the children, they're like tied up in their bedrooms. So
yeah, but there's more to that story.
We're not villains.
Yeah.
We're really just kidding. We didn't tie them up at all. But it is really quiet, right? I'm kind of like, I don't know what they're doing. So
like we asked them to be quiet.
Yeah.
We wanted that, but it is kind of unsettling when it's this quiet.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Who knows what they're doing, so.
All right. So what is next on the agenda?
Well, I was going to share this recipe. I was just going to read it. I'm going to, give it to everybody who comes anyway.
Yeah.
Who shows up. But
do you have that saved somewhere?
I do. Yeah. Why?
'Cause I could like comment later with it or.
Yeah. I mean, I have it on the Fairendale extras. So everybody's going to get a copy of the recipes. But this one's kind of fun because it's Maude's and she puts her own little comments on the things. So here we go. This is Maude's pumpkin spice chocolate chip cookies. Servings are 4 dozen cookies, unless you like your cookies large, in which case cut that number in half. Ingredients: 1 cup of unsalted butter churned from the morning's goat milk, 3/4 cup of white sugar from the jar on the table, 3/4 cup of brown sugar from the cupboard. Try not to eat this sugar. It's very tasty and has been known to cure pesky hiccups, but it is expensive and difficult to make. 2 large eggs gathered from the hen house, 2 teaspoons of vanilla collected from the sealed jar in the root cellar, 2½ cups of unsifted whole wheat flour ground fresh this morning, 1 teaspoon of sodium hydrogen carbonate, acquired from the local apothecary. I believe you might know this ingredient by the name baking soda. 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of pumpkin spice, 1/2 cup of pumpkin mashed into mush. I believe you might call this puree, and dried between 2 cheesecloths. 10 ounces of chocolate chunks made fresh the day before baking the cookies. She doesn't tell you how to make those chocolate chunks, though. That might be an oversight. Here are the directions. Heat your cast iron oven to medium heat, 375 degrees or so if you are fortunate enough to have a thermometer. I, alas, do not, but I have estimated by trial and error. She's very persistent. She'll do that, trial and error.
Yeah.
Stir flour along with the baking soda, salt, and pumpkin pie spice in a mixing bowl and set it aside. In another mixing bowl, beat the butter with the sugar and the brown sugar until the mixture lightens in color and turns creamy. Add the eggs one at a time, stirring to blend. Dry the pumpkin. Of course, it will not get completely dry. Pumpkin is a wet substance, but drying it a little between 2 cheesecloths, or what you call paper towels, will help. And pour into the butter and sugar mixture. Stir. Pour in the vanilla and stir. Gradually blend in the flour mixture to the sugar mixture. Add the chocolate chunks. Drop by tablespoon or 2 onto a slab of iron, or a cookie sheet if you have one, or your mouth if you prefer. Bake for about 10 minutes, 9 minutes if you like them gooey as I do, or until golden brown. And then there's an addendum on how to make pumpkin spice. So
it's nice. I would be the one who just pops them into my mouth.
I know you would. We actually have a whole video on that, don't we? Where you were stealing the cookie dough.
Yeah. It was called the Cookie Monster.
Mm-hmm.
That's my nickname here around the house. Jared says, congrats.
Thank you, Jared.
Jared Rawson.
Yeah.
Kathy Ellen, this was in response to the whole like piecing the puzzle together, and but she says puzzling it all together is a lot of work, and I'll say it, you are great. So I agree.
I'm not.
Agree with that statement. So you've actually made these cookies before, right?
I have, yeah. All of the things that are in the Fairendale recipes I've made before.
Okay. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Very cool.
And they have fun names too, like there's an underworld. The Graces actually go to the underworld, and so they have to carry soup with them. So I put the recipe for their soup that they took, and it was fun.
Yeah.
I enjoy doing that stuff.
You can, I don't know. I feel like maybe we need to do a follow-up video or something, and you could make those cookies again.
I intended on making them today, but yesterday was really busy. So
yeah.
I was going to have them to like make people jealous.
We'll just do it later though. Like you can make the cookies. We'll take some pictures and put them up on the socials, and
you can eat the cookies.
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah.
Exactly. All right. So what's next?
I have some poetry readings. Is that of interest? Like I did some poetry according to, or that was just inspired by the world of Fairendale. So
yeah. So tell us a little bit about that. Like, is this poetry read from the perspective of a character, or is it like just inspired by?
Not really. It was inspired by, I think I was looking for things to put on my blog, and I thought, oh, that'd be kind of cool to do some poetry inspired by Fairendale. And each book actually, except for these last two, the last two have one extra section where I interview the fairy tale. I should have said that. I interviewed the fairy tale characters, and each book has like a bunch of different extras in it. I'll get one of these in a minute and read an example of like what the extras are, but things like how to not become a were creature, or the how to live forever is one of them. I remember that was really fun. So it or what to do when you're stuck in a what is it called, a tower, what to do when you're stuck in a tower. That one was a fun one too. So all right. So, and I guess I was saying those extras because those are the kinds of things that I did, like on the blog post. I was trying to figure out what are some extra things that would be fun to put in books as well. So I was gonna
mention Rachel is an award-winning poet. So this isn't just like, oh, I might try my hand at some poetry. Like, you're a legit poet.
But
so.
you don't have to say that. But
Well, yeah, and I guess I don't want to disqualify, like, anybody can write poetry, but you've actually put a lot of work into it.
Yeah, I do.
So these should be
okay. Actually, I'm going to save that one for last. So this one's called The Heart versus the Head. The difference between the heart and the head is that when the heart gets involved, the heart gets all muddled up. Sorry, I totally didn't. Let me start over. The difference between the heart and the head is that when the head gets involved, the heart gets all muddled up. It starts speaking logically, counting the costs, shaping itself to the past and the conventions of the day. The heart, when listened to in a deep and curious way, always knows the answer. What makes a heart turn, falter, second guess is the moment the head barges in, singing its familiar, slightly off-key refrain. I know what's best. I'll get you there. I've never steered you wrong. And what the head says is mostly true. He's never steered you wrong, but he's only ever steered you safe. So that was the first one. Should have gotten the kids down here so they could. All right, and this one's called Love, which I feel like is, it's the overarching thing that I want to get across in Fairendale is just love. Love is stoking a fire without being asked. Love is sitting at a bedside, remaining present through sickness. Love is searching every corner of a kingdom for the one who is missing. Love is reading all night to find a solution. Love is surrendering a life to the pursuit of good. Love is expending every bit of magic to ensure safety, happiness, and security. Love is choosing what is right over what is easy. Love is facing monsters, dragons, darkness to usher in the light. Love is sometimes leaving. Love is sometimes returning. Love is sometimes remaining in the first place. Love is risk. Love is reparation. Love is restoration. Love is all that will save us. So a lot of those things are things that the characters in Fairendale do to show their love. So
those were lovely.
Thanks. All right. Do you want me to, should I do a reading, you think, or?
I think it would be neat. What were you thinking about reading from?
Well, I thought it might be better to do like the first book in case there are people who haven't read any of them yet. I really love the next, like the two that are releasing today, but I feel like there might be some spoilers even in the first chapter.
Yeah.
If people haven't read them, so.
Yeah, I think it would be fun to. Do you have a passage in mind that you wanted to read from, or were you just going to?
I mean, if you hand me that book behind you, I could. I think there's like a prologue.
Yeah. So
my 7-year-old is reading this one right now, so I don't want to lose his place.
Yeah. So while you're looking for that, I'll just mention again. Were you going to read from the prologue?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. So I'll just mention again, if you're watching and just after we do the reading, we're going to have the drawing where we're going to pick 4 winners for some prizes. We've got some bookmarks and stickers. A t-shirt is up for grabs. So we're going to do that drawing, and we'll also explain how you can get in touch with us so that we can get the items to you. But if you have not left a comment or said something in the chat, that's how I know you're here, so I can put your name in for the drawing. Just say hi and let us know. Rachel, you ready?
Yeah.
All right.
I did want to say something real quick, too, about my newsletter. I'm going to shamelessly plug my newsletter. And you would know better than I do about the best place for them to go if they wanted to sign up for my newsletter. And I give information about any books that are coming out or any appearances that I have. I always have, I try to make it interesting, and I have books that I'm reading, things that I've really enjoyed consuming as far as literature and even sometimes movies and stuff are concerned. So I just really enjoy sharing those things with people and try to have an inspirational message there as well. So if you're interested in signing up for a newsletter, it goes out monthly. I'm thinking about going twice a month, where I also have advice for writers on one of the other weeks of the month. So
all right, so I need to set this up. I'm gonna for the live.
Is it not working?
It is working.
Oh.
I just don't have it set up exactly the way it should be. But for the folks who are listening live, this is going to be, the URL is going to be a little bit weird, but
Okay.
it's racheltolson.podia, PODIA.com
Okay.
/newsletter.
Okay.
I'm going to set it up to where
You
it's
can put it in
just,
the chat. And
yeah, I'll put it in the
that,
chat.
okay.
So I'm going to set it up to where it's just racheltolson.com /newsletter. That would be simpler, but I'll go ahead and drop this in the chat for now, so people have a place where you can sign up.
Okay. So this is actually the very beginning of the very first book of Fairendale, which I published in 2016. So it's been a long time since I've actually read this. And I do want to preface it to say that Fairendale is written in omniscient point of view, which means it's like an outside narrator telling the story of everybody. So, but the omniscient narrator has her own personality as well. So that kind of comes into play in this series. Beginning. If one were to visit the kingdom of Fairendale, it would take quite an extraordinary mind to imagine what loveliness it wore once upon a time. This is the land all fairy tales wish they could inhabit. It is the kingdom where the violet sea lends its tributaries with grace and generosity, where mermaids wait just below the shallow waters to call out to those brave enough to cross their bridge from the village of Fairendale to the kingdom grounds, where colors of every hue shimmer in the great green grass and the brilliant blue sky and the lacy flowers of orange and yellow and scarlet. The kingdom, as it used to exist, lived in perpetual fall, that season of crisp, cool air whispering in ears and stroking cheeks and sneaking into bedroom windows to lie beside sleeping children. Now the wind is hard and biting and bitter, as if anger blows across this land. And anger is certainly justified in its blowing, as we shall soon see. It was not so very long ago that Fairendale lost what remained of its loveliness, dear reader, but to its people a whole lifetime has passed. They have forgotten what their beloved children used to sound like. They have forgotten the music of laughter. They have forgotten the pleasure of busy chatter. They have forgotten joy. This once grand kingdom has faded into a colorless shadowland, dark and sinister and cold. The children were the light of the kingdom, you see, and now they are missing. Why are they missing? Well, now, that is a story worth telling. That's the prologue.
You're not going to read any more? Leave us hanging?
Yeah, so I do have plans, actually, we didn't even mention this, but I do have plans to release audio versions of these books too, but that takes a lot of work. So, but I would love to do the reading on all of those.
That is, 20 books is going to be...
Yeah, it's a lot of words. I don't even know collectively how many. I think the last 2 books are like 70,000 words. So just 2 books alone, that's 140,000. Yeah, it's a lot.
I was actually thinking about it earlier today, though, and I think the way that we would do it today is different from how we would have tried to do it
6 years ago.
Yeah. So, so I think it's something we can. We'll talk more.
Yeah.
So I'm sure many of the folks who are watching or who will watch later have read this first book at least, but there are certainly some maybe who haven't. And where would you send them to? Because is the first book still free as an ebook?
Yeah, it is. It's free everywhere that you can buy ebooks.
Okay.
So Barnes & Noble, Apple, Amazon. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're interested in diving into the world of Fairendale with this first book, you can read it for free.
Yeah.
You should check it
out. The
out.
paperback and hardcovers are not free because They cost money to publish, but
All right. So I have. Are you ready to do the drawing? Okay.
Yeah,
So remind us again what.
I knew you were going to ask me that.
Yeah.
I have it on my phone, but okay. So the first, I guess it's package 4 is what I had named it. So these are digital copies of all of the Fairendale extras, which are the favorite Fairendale recipes, poetry inspired by Fairendale, and what did we call it? The all things essential to Fairendale. I called it something else, and you changed the title. So
yeah,
he did it without asking me.
I did. Essential Guide to the World of Fairendale.
Yeah. Okay. So you'll get those 3 extras. Whoever is the lucky winner of this.
All right. So and just to make sure that y'all know it's fair, what I've done is I've put every name into a spreadsheet. The spreadsheet has numbers already, so each person is assigned a number, and I have a randomizer app on my phone, and I put in the number of numbers, and then it's just going to give me a random number to draw from those. It's
okay.
Yeah. So your chances currently based on.
I trust you, Ben.
Yeah, I know. Currently, based on the number of people who have said hi in the chat, are 1 out of 7.
Oh, okay.
So those are pretty good odds.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Okay.
So I've never used this app before, so hopefully it works the way we expect it to.
I hope some people haven't said hi and then.
Okay, there.
I was like, it looks like when you step on a scale and it just doesn't stop the number.
Yeah, so it just kept. Yeah, I think it was like it came up with the random number and then it like had to
second guessed itself.
No, it had to look like it was cycling through like doot, 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 doot,
yeah,
you know that thing. All right, so number 4, and in the number 4 spot on my spreadsheet is Janice Vineyard.
Oh, hey, okay. I'll write that down. All right, package 3. All
right, so the thing I did not account for as I was doing this is like
if it did the number again.
If it does the number again.
Yeah.
If it does the number again, we'll just redo it.
Yeah.
All right, so that's going to make it more and more difficult as we get
might take a little longer. Package 3 is all of that, so all of the digital extras, plus Fairendale sticker, some Fairendale bookmarks, and a Fairendale poster. Should I show the poster again?
Yeah, show the poster again.
I think this is really cool. All of our sons, when they saw it, they said, I want one of those for my room.
That is,
showing it at all.
Yeah, that's.
I can't really see.
Let me see. Yeah, so that's actually the original map that I designed for the land of Fairendale, colorized, and then has the little tagline thing that Rachel came up with, "Love is the best magic," down at the bottom. So, yeah. All right. So here we go. A random number. You can kind of see it's like.
Oh, it's 4 again. Oh no, Janice is gonna.
Does it really just like that
it likes
number?
The number 4.
Okay, let's try it again.
Three.
Right? Did it stop? Yeah,
it has the blue button. Yeah.
So that one is Debbie. Number 3 is Debbie.
Okay. Package 2. You get all of those other 2 packages. So the stickers, the digital extras, the bookmarks, the poster, and you will also get signed paperback copies of books 1, 2, and 3.
All right. Here we go.
It's going to be 3 or 4. That's my guess.
1.
Oh, hey.
So in the number 1 spot is Anne.
Oh, Anne?
Yep.
All right.
So
Anne, let me know whenever you email me to tell me like your address and stuff. Let me know if you want it made out to a specific person or if it's for you or whatever. So because
Anne,
these are signed.
Yeah, Anne said earlier in the chat, I didn't read this. Puppy's parents arrived. If I win, go to the next person. But we know how to get a hold of Anne. So Anne, you win whether you like it or not. All right. So
okay, so the grand package is that plus a Fairendale t-shirt, which is modeled by Ben right now. So
all right, here we go.
Does it say one again?
It says one again. Well, I told you this is going to get difficult.
Yeah.
All right, because you got 3 numbers to avoid.
One, 3, and 4, right?
Yeah. So we got 5.
Oh, okay.
All right. So in the number 5 spot is Malcolm Ferris.
Oh, hey. Okay.
So congratulations, Malcolm.
So Malcolm, if you want those books made out to anybody or just, a generic signature, let us know.
Yeah. So the winners are, again, Janice, Vineyard, Debbie, Anne, and Jared. And if
not Jared, Malcolm.
I mean, sorry, Jared. I'm so sorry. And Malcolm. Jared had to leave anyway. So
yeah.
So if I think of those folks, I'm not sure. You can either direct message us on Facebook.
Yeah.
Or
that could work.
You can email Rachel at racheltolson.com. And send us your address and any other information about, if you want to make something out to somebody else.
That's Rachel at racheltolson.com. It sounded like you were saying you can email Rachel at racheltolson.com.
Oh, yeah.
You can email Rachel at racheltolson.com.
Yeah. Good. You got it. I am going to drop this in here just for the rest of you folks. We have...
Well, I do want to give them the recipes too, so I can email those to them if they would like.
For everybody who's...
Yeah, everybody who attended was going to get the favorite recipes from Fairendale, the digital version of that.
Is there... I'm wondering if there's a way we can just send it to them now. Like, is it on your computer?
Yeah, it is. I haven't
in Scrivener.
Right. You don't want a Scrivener document. So.
See, if it was in the cloud, I could just boop. All right.
This is the way I work. Sorry.
Okay, so
this is how you get 20 books written in 6 years.
So if you want the recipes, email Rachel at racheltolson.com.
Oh my gosh, it's so okay.
Yeah, just shoot us an email or direct message is fine too.
Yeah.
And we will get that to you. Meanwhile, I've just put in the comments in the chat, I've just put a link to Rachel's store.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention
where
that.
She actually has...
We do have t-shirts, a hoodie. There's a mug too, right?
Yeah, I was going to go ahead and so there's a mug, which I really want to get.
Yeah, I know.
There's the hoodie, the t-shirt, the poster, stickers. Actually, there are a couple of different versions of the poster. We don't have any bookmarks on the store yet.
No, we don't.
So I need to figure that out. But all of those other things are there. So if you would like to help support Rachel's work and get any of those items for yourself, they are there. Yeah.
All right.
So, and Debbie had just asked, is it possible to buy the t-shirt? So
yes, it is. Yeah.
Malcolm said he's going to send his personal valet.
Okay.
So
we know him. That's great.
So, all right. Well, is there anything else we had on the agenda, or is that
No,
is that all of it? All right.
Yep.
Well, congratulations.
Thanks.
I'm very proud of you. I wish we actually had. Did we? We don't have copies of the new books,
They're on the
do
way.
we?
Yeah,
They're on
the way. They didn't get here quite in time.
Yeah.
So.
But I'm excited for these last two to come out, and we're not quite done with Fairendale yet. If we're gonna do audiobooks and maybe some of these spin-offs, so I'm excited to see what the future holds.
Yep.
And maybe eventually some movie studio.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody knows a movie studio who wants a series type TV show, I would love to see it come to life.
Yeah.
Preferably produced by Pixar, music by Danny Elfman, and probably Tim Burton has some.
See, when you get into that realm, though, I'm thinking it's more stop motion, which would be really awesome.
Yeah, super cool.
So like that kind of stop motion style animation, a little bit spooky looking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
That's your dream team, though.
That's my dream team, yeah.
That's for just about any project you've made.
Any fantasy project, yeah. The Woods would be really well done by Tim Burton and Danny Elfman.
So Debbie says congratulations. Alana says congratulations, Rachel. So happy for you and proud to be your friend.
Thank you.
And Debbie says next, the movie.
Yeah. Maybe the kids can help act it, and then we'll just make our own movie.
Yeah, very low budget live action. Kathy Ellen says, thank you. This was fun. Congrats on finishing up this series. 20 books is no small feat. Excited to see the companion stories that are coming too.
Thank you, Kathy Ellen.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us. It means a lot. I know it means a lot to you.
Yep.
And
I wish I could have everybody over to our house, but
yeah, we'll have to figure something out at some point for other book releases and celebrations. But
fly you out, Kathy Ellen and Anne, all the way up in New York.
Yeah,
it'd be fun.
All right. Well, thanks again, and we'll see you when we see you.
All right. See y'all.